Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Pretty Little Podcast. I'm Allie, Violet Vixen Commissaro, and I'm here with my beautiful podcaster in crime,
Hi
Jessie.
guys. We are so excited for tonight because tonight we are sitting down with Blasphemous, Philly's long-standing metal force known for their unapologetic, brutal sound. Their new release, To Lay Siege and Conquer, continues to push the boundaries in death metal, along with their work with Deathsculpted Productions. Welcome, Hal and Ron. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. How's everybody doing?
We're good. I'm so happy to have you guys here tonight. I wanted to start off by asking you guys, how did you guys get into the heavy stuff? What was your introduction into metal?
Well, for me, I gotta go way back to like 1990 when I was starting out in high school and stuff too. So initially, it started off with like the glam stuff and like Motley Crue and Def Leppard and stuff like that. Then it evolved into the heavier stuff like Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth, and then on and on from there. Kind of went down the rabbit hole.
I love that. It's always like you find one thing and you got to keep going with it. You guys like descending. You just keep descending. Those are all great bands.
That was quite a list.
I know, right? How about you?
I think it was something similar. Like when I was younger, my mom used to listen to basically like the equivalent of 93.3 in our area up here, back where I live. So it was a lot of like Ozzy. I'd hear, like the more mainstream Metallica stuff, a lot of Led Zeppelin and stuff. And then I ended up getting, I think some of the first probably 4 or 5 CDs I got as Christmas gifts were like, I had like an Essential Blue Oyster Cult. I had And Justice for All, Metallica. Trying to remember, there was like one other one that was on the heavier-ish side of things that was really, really good. But anyway, yeah, same thing. Did that. Then the age of LimeWire came, and I just downloaded anything that fell into the category of heavy metal. And
you gave your computer aids in the process.
I was gonna say, them computers. My mom was like, "You better stay off of that shit." I was like, I couldn't help myself. I was like, one more album.
Well, I'm 12. I don't have a job. You give me a week for chores. How am I going to buy CDs, man? So I'm going to download it, not illegally, from LimeWire. So
yeah,
that was kind of how it all went. So
that's great. How did Blasphemous first come together? What can you tell us about the early days?
Oh wow, I gotta go way back in my memory bank for this one because, like I said, it's been 21 years since we formed the band. Hal didn't come into the picture till well later after we broke up and reformed. But like I said, me and our old drummer, we used to be in a band called Grindshaft together. That kind of fell apart, so we decided let's do some black metal and do something a little different here. So we formed that, and then by 2005 we had a demo out, Storm of Chaos. Did a appearance on a Pennsylvania black metal compilation, and we had a song called sorry about that. We had a song called Black Phoenix Flame. That was the first song we ever wrote. So going forward from there, we had a couple releases, a lot of member changes, and then by the time 2013 rolled around, I was like kind of getting sick of the changes and stuff. I just wanted to step back for a moment. I was starting a new job. A couple people wanted to go on and do a couple different things, so we just kind of put it on ice for a little while. And then fast forward a few more years, I did something a little different for a little bit, and then decided I wanted to reform Blasphemous and decide to do it with new members. And that's where Hal comes into the picture.
Yeah, I had moved into the area after college for work. And to that point, I was only in one band. It was just like a band in high school I had with my brother and my best friends and stuff. I was moving to the area. I didn't have any friends or anything of that nature. So I wanted to just kind of put myself out there and see who would want to jam and maybe play some death or black metal or grindcore. I was kind of up for whatever. So I made a post on the old Philly metal forums.
Yeah.
And Ron hit me up on there, and we were back and forth a little bit, and I went out and jammed. And at that point, it was just him, our other guitarist, Steve, who's still in the band, and then our old bassist, Josh. We got together, jammed on a few things, and it sounded good. It was fun. And then we started trying out drummers, and I think Mark was the second or third drummer we had come out, and he nailed it. And it's been, other than bass, a consistent lineup since then. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So I mean, eight years, I guess, right?
Yeah, 8 years now, because we did our first show together like right around this time. It was like our friend Rob Wharton's birthday. So right around this time of year, almost right close to your birthday too, Hal.
I think it was on my birthday. It was it was October 15th, 2016. It was a Cognitive, Blasphemous, Outer Heaven played, and Bludgeonment, a couple other bands.
Since you have such a catalog, which song would you say best describes the band up to date?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to go something off the new album. Spiritual Enslavement. It's probably one of my favorite songs to do. So like I said, we played it live once when we played with Exhumed a few months back, and I just love the whole vibe of the song.
Are there any artists that inspired you in the beginning that you find yourself returning to for inspiration today?
For myself, I would say Morbid Angel, Deicide, Goat Horror, bands like that.
Yeah,
definitely give us some inspiration.
Definitely great bands.
Yeah, I think along that stuff. I think earlier on, I was listening to a lot of taking inspiration from stuff of that nature, like a little bit more black metal type stuff, I guess. Yeah. Dark Funeral, Marduk, Belphegor, but then I kind of throughout. I mean, we still try and have some of that more raw stuff in the music, but I think naturally, kind of what comes is more melodic. So something like Steve has a big thrash influence, so it kind of comes out as like melodic thrashy type sound. So bands like Skeleton Witch, maybe even some like old At the Gates type things. And then I maybe in like the last year or so been kind of going, way back to more like really stripped down stuff like early Celtic Frost, things like, kind of more almost punky type sound.
Right.
So, yeah. So a little bit of everything, but we all kind of take different inspiration from different places, and that's kind of what makes it sound unique, I think.
I think so too. A little cocktail of all different kinds of inspos going on. Blasphemous has a lot of themes of anti-Christianity and Satanism packed into your music. Are there any books, occult classics, or real life experiences that you draw imagery and inspiration from?
Well, I think the lyric output is more diverse than just the anti-Christian Satanism. Especially on this album too, like I said, I grew up in a pretty diverse background of music, and it kind of reflects on that. Like some of the songs can be construed different ways too.
Yeah.
So like a little political leaning, but not going there necessarily.
Not going necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I forget who I was telling about the lyrics, but we don't necessarily have a set person who writes everything. I know Ron writes a good portion of the lyrics, but sometimes when I write, stuff comes together so fast, I don't have an idea in my head that I put down the lyrics too. So I know the last song on the album is about Warhammer, because I'm like kind of a Warhammer lore fan of that nature. And then kind of fantasy stuff. We have a song about just some random, like just kind of fantasy concept that came up in my head about a witch who puts this curse on a whole town, and they all wake up out of their sleep and they're all cursed and they all try and kill each other. Yeah, just like fun stuff like that. So it's not necessarily, it's by no means a concept album, more just like a collection of different darker themes that we like to talk about. And I think we were going back and forth with what do we want to have as like an album title, and we thought To Lay a Siege and Conquer was a really good, strong title, and it had a strong imagery behind it. And when we gave it to the artist, he nailed it. So it was a good piece to open the album with and have be the album title. So
you guys have, I'm so happy you just brought up the art, because you guys have just like amazing, super consistently flawless like album art. I especially love the art for your EP, Eternal Misanthropy. Like, it is so cool. Like, please, I want that everywhere. I want your new album art everywhere. It's incredible. Can you tell me a little bit about your album art? Do you always know you wanted to keep it like a consistent theme in your thought process behind it?
I think it's worked well. So when the band reformed, we did the Emerging Through Fire record, and we worked with Jeffrey Dahmer on that one.
Carl Dahmer, not Jeffrey Dahmer.
Carl, sorry.
Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't around to do that cover.
Dahmer, and I love the art.
Like you felt familiar.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had like pulled something old, because like we got that acid bath reunion with the John Wayne Gacy, you know, Gacy and everybody in the Gacy paintings.
So anyway, so we worked with him, and we really love the art, and I still really do it. Everything was great about it. So I had been working with Chris from Misanthropic Art, who did the album cover for the new record and the EP, and he did a shirt design for us. I'd been working with him for another project of mine, and he was just really good to work with. He was very good at capturing, you know, if I gave him a concept, I didn't have to draw out a sketch. He would kind of give me a few different sketches of what he was feeling, and I never pinned him down creatively. He always kind of did his own thing, and he always nailed it. So since the EP was really a single with some live stuff tacked on, we thought it would be good to have him do a you know, during the full album cover, and he did a great job. So who knows? There's a lot of artists out there that, you know, we can work with and that capture different imagery that we want. But I could see us definitely going back to work with Chris again. He's a great guy too. I've met him a bunch of times. So
that's awesome. I love when like you find somebody you just like click with. That's the best.
Yeah, he does some phenomenal work. So I was happy to be working with him again on this album.
Yeah, I love it. I definitely want to like, I'm like raring to order the CD so I can like just like look, you know, have it physically. That's like the best. Your new album, Till I Siege and Conquer, it dropped on Friday on our Adirondack Black Mass. Can you tell us about what listeners who haven't listened to it can expect in terms of overall sound and themes? Like, how does this album differ from your previous albums?
I'll let you take this one, Hal.
I think the overall theme is musically that you'll hear is variety. So there's the two songs that we both already spoke about. Ron said Spiritual Enslavement, and I said Till I Siege and Conquer. They're both very different characteristically. Spiritual Enslavement is a lot more technical. It's faster. It's more challenging to play. It still has elements of melody. It's a little darker. Till I Siege and Conquer has a very big kind of open epic feel, very melodic, very kind of like typical kind of radio-y rock structure. You know, like there's hooks and catchy stuff like that. But then we have some stuff like the 6-song Curse of the Witch Christ. It's almost kind of black and roll kind of sounding. Dead and Still is a very kind of more really stripped down song, but it's kind of got that like almost rock and roll kind of feel to it. So it's not all like how fast can you go blast beats and tremolo picking and, you know, whatever. There's thought and there's there's finesse put into it too, like knowing when to like go balls to the wall, when to kind of peel back, and so it doesn't all sound the same. So each song has something different that you can enjoy and listen to. And I think we did a good job with that on Emerging Through Fire as well. But this one, I think, kind of explores some different areas that I think we weren't quite comfortable with doing then. But since we've been a consistent lineup for, you know, almost a decade now, we know what works, what doesn't, what we're good at doing, what we're not good at doing. So I think that the variety is probably the thing that people will notice and maybe stand out a bit from previous releases.
I've
Yeah,
listened
it's
to
definitely an album that you can listen to from top to bottom. I mean, it's a quick listen, it's less than a half hour, so it
Which one are
very
you most excited to perform live since it just dropped?
well. We've only played a couple of these songs live before, so I'm pretty excited to play the play the title track, "Lay Siege and Conquer."
yeah.
I think that one and the sixth song, we're gonna close with that one probably for a while. It's a good closer. It's fun. It's really fun to play. It's a fun one to get into, and but they're all good. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not 8 of the same song at the same pace with the same riff structure. Like they're all kind of different, so you can throw them in and mix and match in with old songs, and they'll always be fun to play. So
How have your fans taken to the new album?
I was literally going to ask that.
It seems like the reaction has been great. I've seen some reviews that been phenomenal. Friends have messaged and said that they love it, best thing we've ever done, and I tend to agree with that. I mean, I hate to pat myself on the back too much, pat us on the back there too much, but we did a phenomenal job on it. I think everybody brought their A game when we went into the studio. We were well prepared and well oiled and ready to bang it out.
I think the recording process too was, we worked with AJ, who did the AJ Viana, who did the single for us.
Mhm.
I think it was good going back, because when you go back and work with the same producer, you have a chance to learn each other, and they can kind of keep you in check and say, hey, you can play that better, you can play that tighter, or let's add this in, or maybe let's take that out. And having that external ear really helps kind of form the songs, because you might be there 80% of the way, and then they can add in the last 20%, whether it be helping you structure a song or add in a part or take away a part. I found that with some of my other projects, working with the same producer for multiple releases was very helpful in that sense, and just getting better at recording and being better in the studio, because some bands can't really do it. They're not really tuned, they're not really set up for it, they don't really understand how it works. But the more you do it, the better you get at it, and I think we've been getting better at it too. So that, I think, also helped it kind of come together as a really solid release.
I love that. I love that having that familiarity with the people you've been working with
being able to grow with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not only just being a bandmate and learning how to communicate with your bandmates and keep each other in check, and kind of like the same thing like with the producer. Like, I'm not a drummer, but I know, like, I can talk to Mark and I can say, hey man, like, I think you can play that better, let's do that again and in practice. Or when we practice, someone flubs a note or something that's like, hey, did you mess that up? It's like, yeah, I messed that up, let's try it again. So the communication aspect, the writing too, as far as stylistically, because when I first joined the band, Steve was already there, and he had written some stuff and I had written some stuff, and I'm not saying it didn't work, but we kind of learned what each other wants to do, and kind of trying a little bit of what we're not comfortable with, learning from the other person. You kind of form what becomes a sound, right? And it doesn't just sound like, oh, Hal wrote that song and Steve wrote that song, or Mark came up with this drum part. Like, it just sounds like Blasphemous. It doesn't sound like Hal, Steve, Ron, Mark, and Dan. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have kind of a cohesive sound. Like, I think that's what a lot of bands strive for, is to have, when I say Cannibal Corpse or I say Slayer, like, what that sounds like.
Yeah.
So
what a Blasphemous song sounds like.
Right. Like, that's kind of what I think we're kind of getting into with where we're at now, is it's not, the 5 of us in a band, it's Blasphemous. Like, that's the sound. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. I think that's what we're kind of, marching towards. So.
Yeah, I
I
think because we're all like pretty cohesive now at this point after 8 years. I think we all pretty much gel together really well, and we all hang out together and stuff, go to shows, everything. And so much, it's fun.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I know the response to it was awesome because I was in the car and there was this guy and he was fucking freaking out and he was like the new black. It was listening to Temple's radio station, and if you live in Philadelphia, you know they had got Metal Tuesdays, and the guy's like, Blasphemous new album's coming out, and I'm like, ah, and he's really excited too. So it was like the best hearing this guy.
That's awesome.
It was. I texted Hal immediately. I was like, I just heard you on the radio. Best. I was like, it made me look forward tonight so much. And that album's got so much replayability for all the reasons you were talking about earlier. One of those.
Now, do you guys look at your Spotify, like what Spotify playlists you're put on?
They literally just posted.
Yeah, I just posted some on there.
Yeah.
Metal Epidemic put us on their playlist. They just reviewed the album and gave a pretty good review. So I shared that on there. So that was pretty cool to see.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
In addition to your work in Blasphemous, you guys also run Deathsculpted Productions. I think you do book some of the best shows in Philly in a couple of years. I love the shows you guys put on. How did that get started? Tell me all about that.
I think I don't even remember why, but I thought I didn't think there was a lack of good shows going on. That's definitely not the case, but I just kind of wanted to, maybe at the time it's not what I thought, but maybe in hindsight I kind of wanted to learn a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah.
Because you're in a band and you get asked to play and then you go play and then you get paid and then you go home, but being able to like manage all that and put it all together, I don't think that's what I was thinking at the time, but I think in hindsight it may have been. But I brought it up to Ron and said, hey, do you want to try and take a stab at doing some shows? And we were trying to put together a little Halloween weekend run down south to Virginia. And I was like, let's just book it ourselves. We know a few people. Let's just reach out and figure out the venues and figure out other bands and the whole nine. And ended up working out. And then we've kind of just kept a steady stream of stuff over the years. And we've been doing that for 6 years now too.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's, like I said, I mean, bands hit us up, and it's like, it's fun to take a lot of these shows on, I mean, we can proudly say we were the first ones that brought like bands like Sanguisugabog, On Death, and Soul, Vomit Forth, bands like that. We were the first ones that took a chance and brought them to Philly.
Also,
and look at how they've blown up.
Biggest bands right now. Like, I'm wearing my Sanguisugabog right now. I can go. Tell me that I can be in the South Philly or the Port Richmond Target and have somebody be like, oh, Sanguisugabog. I never thought that would happen. And it's just crazy. The bands that you guys have brought, that Fester Decay show, like, I was like, Fester Decay's coming to the Kung Fu Necktie? Like, I cannot believe this.
The new bands that are looking to play in Philly, how do they go about it? Like,
I mean, we have social media, we have the Instagram and Facebook, and we have an email. So bands will and we get a ton of emails all the time of bands like, hey, my name's so and so and band XYZ. We're new to the area. We're just looking to play. Maybe keep us in mind. So when you put a bill together, you can't have four or five bands that nobody knows. I mean, you can, but you don't really expect a ton of people to come out. So what we'll do is wait for something to come, a band to come through that's, maybe like a national bill or like at least a regionally well-known band, and then book them as like a headliner, and then kind of fill it in with a few good well-known locals, and then maybe throw on a couple smaller openers that don't really have a following, but hey, let's put them on, see how they do, see what the reaction's like. and then they're on from there. So and it just depends. Sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. I booked bands before that I really really loved and felt passionate about, and from a money perspective, kind of flopped. And
yeah,
there's
sometimes you got to bite the bullet on it. Sometimes,
yeah, like the what day of the week it is, what else is going on in town. It's a blessing and a curse that there's so many things going on in the city at once. I mean, I just saw today that next April on the second day of what will be the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest, which is a big, really, really big lineup. Killswitch Engage is playing at Franklin Music Hall the same night. So it's like two very, very big metal shows, at least metal adjacent shows going on. So you, as a fan, you're like, wow, that's great. But also, what the fuck am I going to do? I got to pick one of them. So
I played at Sanctuary last Friday, and it was the same day as Spooky Fest. And I was like, well, that's the people going to Sanctuary. The same crowd. I was like, rut-row. It was a great turnout, though, in my opinion. I think it was fine. How did you guys manage booking shows this year simultaneously while working on your album? How the hell did you manage the time?
That was a bit of a juggling act we had to do sometimes. It's like we're working on the album. We just made sure we blocked the time for the studio where we weren't going to have really anything else going on.
We did plan that out. So we had Noisem and Gosha in February.
I went to that.
One show in January. And then we had Gravesend and Maul in earlier, like March 1st or 2nd. And then we stopped. Because we were recording, but B, Decibel Metal and Beer is always in April.
Mm-hmm.
And they always pull locals to play the show. And for those who don't book shows or understand how that works, there's normally radius clauses for certain size shows to where if we get asked to play, that's great, we'll play. But you can't play within a certain radius of the show for a certain amount of time around the show. And we know that not only us, but a lot of people go to that fest and spend a lot of money. So could you book a show the same night? Sure, you could. You could book it within that week. But people, if it comes down to money or time, they're going to save it for the big show that they invested a lot of money in. So we generally stay away from booking anything in April for that reason. And sometimes even May is tricky. Early May we can get away with, but later in May people go to Maryland Death Fest. It's not that far. So that's right, which I went to both this year. So kind of stay away from that for the most part. So we did kind of get strategic with it. But for the most part, it worked out. There was only one show that we really kind of lost out on, but it was okay because I wanted to book it anyway. And then once we were done recording, I think we were done in March or early April or something. And then that was it. We were just sitting on it, we were shopping around to labels, which is pretty passive and not energy or time consuming. So
that's awesome. Are there any lessons you've learned from the promotion and booking side of things that you've applied to Blasphemous in terms of marketing and just knowing what you're doing?
There's definitely a lot of lessons that we learn in this, and it goes back and forth between Blasphemous and Deathsculpted. We definitely learned some lessons, and it definitely helps. Like I said, just making sure be mindful the market and where bands are playing at et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, knowing what shows to say yes to play.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to make it seem like we won't play any show, but we did that for a while, just to get back out and get our feet wet with playing shows again, and it was good. We made a lot of friends and things like that. But if it comes down to it, we also don't want to play 12 times a year in the city. So that way, when you do play, it's a little more special. People will come out, they'll be excited, they'll be more willing to, buy merch. Like if you're playing every weekend, and I saw the same merch that you had last weekend and you played the same set. Like I said, when it comes down to it, if there's 3 shows in one night and money's tight, you're going to pick probably the bands that you haven't seen yet, which I've had to make that choice myself too. So, and then from the booking aspect, that's from the playing and the band aspect, but from the booking aspect, if a tour is going to come through and they say, hey, can you book the show? Yeah, okay, sure, we'll book it. Let's find some locals. Well, we got to look and see who's playing that weekend. So is there a big show going on already? Maybe we'll defer taking on the show. Are there locals that are going to be available, or are they all playing other stuff within that same kind of time frame to where if people saw them a week before, are they going to come? Is it going to be the same draw that they come out for the show that we're going to take on?
Yeah.
So or is it going to be the same people in bands having their other playing with other bands that they're in? It's like people share members and stuff, and that's
especially in Philadelphia, they do. Sometimes I feel like we have like 3 drummers.
Yeah.
one drummer for 5 bands.
It really is.
Yes.
I love it though. I also love I have the Serpent poster, and I was like from their first gig, I have the Poison Room Serpent first gig poster, and I get up there, I was like, is this Devil Master? I was like, yeah. I was like, this is sick. I love what you guys are doing. It's just minus fun. What can we look forward to in 2025 regarding Deathsculpted? Crazier shows, bigger bills. I would love to see a Deathsculpted fest. That would be amazing. What can we look forward to?
It's all going to depend on our schedules with Blasphemous too. We want to do some stuff to promote the album, so we're probably going to do some weekend runs and stuff. So you might not see as many Deathsculpted shows, and because we're going to be busy doing Blasphemous stuff too.
Yeah.
So it might be one of them things where we do maybe one show every couple months or whatever, and kind of it's like if you miss us, you'll come out and see one of our shows that we're throwing.
I definitely will. I was going to ask can we expect a tour run? I would love that. And if we can expect a tour run, can we expect new merch?
Well, yes, you will. There will be some new merch for sure. Yeah. We're not ready to reveal that just yet, but soon enough, we will have something pretty new coming out.
That's awesome. November 2nd is your show opening for Antichrist Siege Machine. I'm so excited at Kung Fu Necktie. I'm really looking forward to it. Are we going to get all new album? Are we going to get some of previous album? What's that going to look like? Do you have a set list in mind?
Yeah, we got a set list all ready to go. For anybody that wants to hear old stuff, you're going to be disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah. We were so we played we were playing not the exact same set, but we were cycling between mostly the same songs for a while. So we had when the band reformed and we wrote Emerging Through Fire.
Mm-hmm.
We played most of the album regularly live before it was out. So by the time it was out, most people had heard the songs. It was just kind of how the timing of everything went. It was basically a new band when it reformed. We had to write new material. We did dip back throughout the years and rework some old stuff, dust off some old songs and throw those into the set. And they've been fun to play, but we were just getting kind of tired of playing the same songs. And that's why we took a long pause to write and record. So now we've only played 2 of the new songs off the new album once, and that was at the Exhume show, and the rest have not been played live. So we're definitely ready to put some time in playing them and get out on the road and maybe hit some cities and towns we haven't played before. So
that's awesome. I'm really excited to hear that. How has getting your set how has practice been with the new album coming out? Are you like getting it tight? Have you gotten it tight? Like how's practice been?
It feels pretty tight. Like I said, we all have different schedules and stuff, so it's like kind of tough to get all 5 of us in the room at the same exact time. But when we do get together, it fires off pretty well.
Yeah, and we don't. We only practice all together once a week, and it's not even, if I travel a lot for work, or Ron works weekends sometimes, so it's not normally even all of us. But I think everyone does a good job of keeping up with things, and we really try and get it under a microscope. And the one difference with this whole album that we did this time around that we didn't before was pre-production. So
Okay.
I had everyone over except for Mark. I had Steve and Dan over to my place and Ron to record scratch versions of all the songs, to really work out and fine tune like lyrical placement, vocal placings, bass parts, guitar harmonies. When Steve came in with his solos, I helped flesh them out and add in little melodies and harmonies, like Andy LaRoque type stuff. That just kind of, did it need it? No, but when you hear it with and without it, it really kind of just adds more to it and brightens it up, and it forces you to look at what you're not good at playing and what you're not playing tight. So what sounds sloppy when you record it, what doesn't sound quite right, and you really kind of work all that stuff out. And that was a big difference, and I think it helped a lot with recording and also with playing live too. So that's definitely something we'll be doing moving forward as well. So yeah, it all feels pretty good. We just had our last practice on Sunday, so we're pretty much locked and loaded, ready to go for Saturday. So
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
to underscore what Hal was saying with the pre-production, it definitely helped me a lot too, because like we would work on like where the vocals are going to be, where the backing vocals are going to be too, because that's kind of key. Like we have a little more backing vocals now in this point with Hal, and my kid actually helped out on the album too, doing backing vocals on a few tracks too. So it made, and listening back to pre-production just reinforced everything with us.
That's really good advice. I'm definitely like putting that in my pocket.
What tracks are your child on?
He's on To Lay Siege and Conquer. I think Dead and Still, I think he did too, right, Hal? You didn't do anything on Dead and Still, did you?
I did. I did. He was on there as well.
Yeah. And he was also on Spiritual Enslavement too.
Yeah. I think that was it. But it sounded really cool. I did. So the very, very last thing that recorded on the album was my vocals, because I could do it at home. So it sent me Ron and his kids mixed down with the vocals. I was like, damn, he's trying to put me out of a job. I don't even really need to. I don't need to do anything. It's all. So I just threw mine in as like an extra layer to make it sound extra, big. But it was really, really cool to have that like extra like vocal touch on it.
That's
the kid's gonna put me out of a job.
I love that. I can't. Oh man, I have to go back and listen to it now. Like the true replayability. There are little Easter eggs in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Oh man, I love that. Do you guys have any advice for anyone trying to get a band started out there?
Yeah, don't do it.
We need more plumbers.
Yeah. We need more forklift certified people out there.
We need more forklift certified people. Absolutely.
Do it to have fun. Don't think about it too hard. Know what you're trying to get out of it. If you're trying to be a band seriously, just know that it's an uphill battle. There's a lot of people with the same idea, and the age of social media makes it really, really hard to stand out. And still, the best way to get in people's faces is to play a lot and play smart. And I think knowing your lane probably blanket covers a lot of stuff. from how to manage the band and musically. That's one thing that I've gotten better at writing wise, is knowing what's good and what's not good. There's a difference between wearing your influences on your sleeve and copying and pasting.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes kind of hard to swallow. And I used to be really bad about that. I'm like, man, this riff is really cool. I'm like, it's a Slayer riff. It's not.
Yeah, but everybody's done a Slayer riff somehow.
Yeah,
Everybody's done a Black Sabbath riff.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, it's like if you're passionate about it, do it. Do what feels right to you. Don't try to half-ass it.
Since you guys have been in it for a while, what's the best advice that you've ever gotten?
That's a good one. Best advice. Just get out there, put your name out there, connect with people that are in the scene, make your face known to people, because being behind a computer screen is not going to put your name out there as much as being in their face.
Yeah. I think that's something I need to get better at too, is being a bit more social at shows. I tend to just kind of go get my beer and stand in the corner and just vibe. But I think just be smart, and about what you play, what you do, who you associate yourself with, how you advertise yourself, because it can open a whole can of worms. But there's types of people that don't really have great intents, behind what they're doing, whether it's how they act outside of their band, the messages that they say within their band, the types of things that they sing about, and it's easy to get yourself associated with them when you don't intend to. So do your research, be smart about stuff like that, because we've had some friends of ours get roped up in some not great situations, and it wasn't their fault by any means, but there's people out there that aren't great. So associate yourself with good people and be smart with what you do.
Don't be a scumbag.
Yeah, don't be a scumbag.
I was going to say, just don't be a scumbag, because I've had people tell me that, but I felt a little more context was needed. But yes, generally don't be a scumbag.
Yeah. I love the advice that you gave, Ron, because one of the things I always say, and I went on a tirade last night, is that you got to feed your local scene. You got to go to the gigs. You got to do the footwork. You got to support local bands. You can't just sit at home. And I have a lot of friends that sit at home and complain about Live Nation taking everybody's money. And I'm like, but you don't go and support the independent venues at home. Like, you don't go support the independent venues. Those are the venues that you support. I don't see you out at a garage in the winter. Like, I don't see you at the independent shows. So you can't just say fuck Live Nation. We hate them, but you also have to support your local music scene. You can't complain that there isn't a local music scene if you're not actively helping keep it.
If you don't like the scene that you see out there, build your own.
Build your own. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And I think that what you guys do is fucking sick. And like I said, I love your shows. And I think you guys have great advice and make great music simultaneously. I don't know how you guys do it all. What has been in rotation for you? Do you have any music recommendations to our listeners besides your own album?
I gotta pull up my Spotify. Hold on. I got a bunch. There was a lot of really good records that came out this year.
Mm-hmm. And you guys put on some of the openers that you guys put on. I'm like, new favorite band.
I got some recommendations. Local bands alone. There's such a great scene. Like Bastard Cross is one of my favorites.
I grew up with Brad, man.
Bastard Cross, Skulovich, which has Chevy from Bastard Cross, Blood Spore, Bone Weapon. Another one of my favorites is Morbid Cross from South Jersey. They're fucking amazing.
I love Zach. We've had him on. I definitely want to have Bone Weapon on because I am a huge fan of Fred, and I have
Fred's an amazing artist.
I have
trying to get Jessie. We're trying to get Jessie when she's at the shows.
I have so much of
to
Fred
actually go up and interview and talk to fans and interact.
Yeah.
So you guys gotta hype her up when you see her out and about. Like, you're like, come on.
I mean, I will do live interviews at some point, but I have a bunch of work.
Do it on Saturday. You got some great bands going to be there on Saturday. So get the mic out, get the camera out, and do some interviews.
Yes, I definitely should. We can put them on our YouTube or Instagram or something like that. That'd be sick.
Absolutely.
I think a couple of ones that I liked from this year specifically, the Cavern Moon EP.
Oh, that was so good.
We did the EP release show for that, and I've seen
that EP release show was hot in more ways than one.
Yeah. The new Weeping album, Spiritual Barbarism, is really unhinged.
I can't believe I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think. There's a band called Pile of Knives. They put out an EP called No Light. It's a little more, I don't know, like death metal or deathcore kind of leaning, but I really like it. It's a friend of mine. He sings in the band, so that one's really good too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Concrete Caveman's release show too in a couple weeks too. Those guys, they are nuts.
I went to their last one at the Snake Pit, and it was so sick. It was so sick. It was such a good show. It was crazy.
Another band I forgot to mention, Compuls. Yes. They opened up the Pungent Stench show. It's like they've been like, they're a new band, but the members of the band have been in other projects that you've heard of. So
I love that.
Definitely,
you just asked them like who do they like? I mean, usually it's like pulling like teeth to try and get bands to like talk about other bands. Like, I mean, how you pulled out your phone, you're like, Ron, you're already listening.
I think that you guys love music, and like that's what makes the band so good, and it makes like you booking so good. It's just like so good.
Well, we're not the only ones too. Like all the people who are in multiple, you don't think like the drummers who are in 12 bands aren't doing it for fun? They're not doing it for money. They're playing. They're not getting paid for like a local death metal band. They do it because they love it, and that's what makes, I think, the bands in the scene especially right now, very, very good. There's a lot of very good bands. They're all very helpful and respectful, and they're all really talented, and they're really excited about being there themselves and being there for other people too. So there's a lot of good stuff.
Amazing. I love the Philadelphia music scene. I love being a part of it. I love going to all the shows. It is.
So where is your show on Saturday?
It's at Kung Fu Necktie. I got tickets already, baby. I am ready.
Good. Better get your tickets now before it sell out.
No, I definitely did. I was like, Antichrist and Blasphemous. Oh, I'm in there.
Yeah, be there for entrail asphyxiation too. They fucking rip it.
Hal has never led me wrong, ever with a music recommendation. So he's like, you got to be there. I'm like, chef's kiss. I will be there. Plus, Halloween is just a couple days away. Do you guys have any costume ideas or plans now?
I'm going to go out Halloween night after I get done work. I'm going to go up to Attic Brewing, where my normal hangout is. I'll have a little surprise for the owner there. So I don't want to divulge too much information in case he ends up listening to the podcast between now and then.
I love that. I also wanted to promote you do metal karaoke nights at Attic Brewing. All right, correct?
Yes. Generally once a month. I took October off because I thought the Phillies were going to have a good postseason run. And just like most Philly teams in my life, they've let me down once again.
Yes.
Yeah, I want every Philly team to be my pallbearer at my funeral so they can let me down one final time.
That's amazing. I love that. I'm stealing that. I would love to come, and any of our viewers should definitely come because I have been in my room, microphone ready, practicing. If anyone wants to do like, Evil by Merciful Fate with me,
Yes,
we will
come
kill
on
it.
out.
I will
November
do
18th. November 18th, Monday, November 18th, we're gonna have another metal karaoke. Hal's gonna do a metal version of Dancing Queen by ABBA.
I can't wait. Oh man, now I
Oh
have
my
to.
God. That's our producer. That's like one of our producer's favorite songs.
I am so excited for that. I just wanted to thank you guys for coming on so
Will you
much.
go live for that?
What's that?
Do you want me to go to
Yeah, you need to go live on like one of the social
like
media.
a platform? Maybe if he lets me.
I'll let you do it.
You'll let me do it.
Go ahead.
If you let me record you doing that, you can record me doing one. I've been really wanting to do Knocking on Heaven's Door in like an Axl Rose voice. I really have been wanting to do that, but I haven't had the balls to do it.
Well, get it. Well, when you get up to Attic, get a couple beers beforehand.
Yeah.
Let everybody get their songs in, and then take the mic.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. And I just want everybody to come out to KFN on November 2nd for the show. And also follow Blasphemous on all streaming platforms. CDs available on Adirondack Black Mass, and stream Lay Siege and Conquer.
Yes, and we will have CDs at the show too if you want to buy one off of us. So
perfect. That's literally what I want to do.
All right.
Thanks, guys, for coming on. I appreciate you both so much, and I will see you at your show and probably around. I feel like I see you guys all over the place because we all be out.
Yep.
we all be out.
We're out there. Just remember, you wanted the worst, and you got the worst.
I did.
Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to come on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. It's been fun.
We appreciate you. Bye.
Thanks again.
That was awesome, dude. You're the best.
I really wanted to ask Ron. He kept saying that he had a wide variety of musical taste. The whole time I'm debating, I'm like, dude, is Jesse gonna side-eye me if I ask? I really wanted to be like, what is your guilty pleasure song?
You should have asked him that.
I feel like he has a good one. Like whether it's Britney Spears or like whatever it could be, like he's listened to all types of music, and I would love to know his guilty pleasure. So
I know,
we might have to get them back on just so we can like ask them the.
We have more. Actually, we have more questions. Man, I loved having them on. I am so excited for the show, and I am so excited to see Blasphemous and Antichrist Siege Machine. I'm excited for the opener. Just go to a Deathsculpted show if you are watching this. They're the best shows in Philly. Honestly, they really fucking do. I have more fun at a lot of Deathsculpted shows than I have like Deathsculpted and Beer. That's not a dig. It's just like how sick they are. Like the energy, so good. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. Check us out, dude, on we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, like and subscribe if you're not already. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.